Here on the OCU Athletics Update, we've got Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Shaun Corso, senior baseball player from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, who's among the NAIA's top 10 in RBIs this season. And Shaun, you had a big day against Kansas Wesleyan and against Bethany last week. Tell us what went into that day for you.
Well, you know, traveling up to Kansas is always interesting. I swear that place is never warm, and the wind always blows in. But it was good to get out there and play a couple games because we knew we weren't playing this past weekend because of the St. Greg situation. So it was good to get out there, and just from the get-go, I just made a decision to get aggressive at the plate and just take some hacks, and I got my hacks in that day for sure. It was a good day.
Your team's among the NAIA leaders. In fact, the NAIA leader in runs scored at this point. What's clicking offensively for you guys?
I think just getting guys that go up to the plate with confidence, you know, every time. You know, as the season goes on, we figure out what we do well as a team, and we got 9 guys every day that can swing the bat really well. So just getting those guys to go up there with a plan and have confidence and take good swings, you know, we'll take whatever happens. And I think just going up there trying to hit the ball hard contributes to the amount of runs we score.
Also, Keith Lytle's got to have a lot to do with that as well. You guys working under him as a hitting instructor. What's it been like working with him?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's nothing like I've ever come to see before. He's a great coach and a mentor and, you know, a teacher, and I learn things from him every day, and just sitting there talking to him every day is just great.
Last season you had an RBI to send OCU into the NAIA World Series. What do you remember about that?
Well, I remember the at-bat before that really well. It was the 9th inning, and I kind of came up in a similar situation. It was a tie ball game, and runner on second, and I really wanted to win the game right there for my team, you know, because I didn't know how much bullpen we had left, so I wanted to get it up there, and I got beat with a fastball and flew out to right field, and I just felt terrible. And then 10th inning or 11th inning comes around and we get all those runs, and I come back up to the plate with an opportunity to win the game, and I just made a decision that I wasn't going to get beat by a fastball again, and I got in a fastball count, hit a fastball, and, you know, hits my strength, so it turned out well.
What brought you here to OCU?
Well, it was time for me to leave West Virginia. You know, I was playing baseball at West Virginia University for 3 years, and I had some friends and some family that really wanted me to go play somewhere and enjoy the game and have fun playing the last couple of years, and, you know, learn some things along the way too. And one of my good friends around here, Drew Ward, is a native here, and he just recommended the coaches more than anything here, and, you know, they're good guys and they play the game right and they emphasize doing things correctly. So I decided to come here and just have a little bit of fun.
And what's your major here?
I'm a political science major, but I've been studying a lot of accounting. I'll graduate at the end of this semester with political science, and then hopefully get into graduate school for accounting.
So you're going to study accounting. So what kind of career plans do you have for yourself when baseball's over?
This summer I'm taking a job with USA Baseball, doing baseball operations. And hopefully that turns into accounting at some point with USA Baseball or something along those lines. But I want to kind of stay in the business side of baseball. So.
All right, talking to Delaware Resource Group Superstar Athlete of the Week, Shaun Corso. You can follow the stars on OCUsports.com.
What I've learned the most from golf is to have integrity in everything you say and do.
One of the biggest lessons of that sports impacts my daily life is discipline.
Be a champion of character, it just means to realize first that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself.
Being a part of NAIA is something that I'm going to keep with me forever because it's not only made me a better athlete, but it's made me a better person.
The NAIA really just cares about their student athletes and just the experience in general at the school, and I think that's really important.
The NAIA stands for, has great core values. One that's most important to me is servant leadership. Being able to serve your community is a huge reason why I chose the NAIA.
I am a champion of character.
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 Today on the OCU Athletics Update, we've got baseball coach Denney Crabaugh. The Stars have been ranked in the top 10 all season. And coach, currently on a 9-game winning streak. What's gone into your team's recent play?
Well, I think the one thing is we've got the experience. We've got all the seniors, and I think they're starting to know that we're starting to gear towards playoffs and the postseason, and you can just start seeing it coming. This past week was a very good week for us, and on this streak, you just all of a sudden you kind of see the look in their eyes, and you see the little things that we as coaches look for when you're talking about championship baseball. It's not all about let's go out there and score 30 runs and just pound somebody. It's the little things that moving a runner over when we need to move them over, and getting them in, and when, ground ball when we need it, and making the pitches when we need it, and guys coming in and do things. And you can just see, I think, the maturation of this ball club and the experience and the leadership of this ball club starting to show through a little bit. And I think they're getting ready. They're kind of pointing towards opening round and playoffs.
You guys have been one of the most productive offensive teams in the country. Who has kind of stood out for you guys offensively?
Well, Lane Milligan has been our most consistent hitter all year long. He's leading us in hitting and a lot of RBIs and just doing a lot of good things. Other day he tied Jeff Mock's record for triples at OCU, single season record, with his 10th triple. So we're pretty excited about that. And he's been a guy that's been there every day. Brandon Grieger is another guy that's been pretty consistent. Joe Lytle, Shaun Corso. Shaun kind of went through a little rough spot a couple of weeks ago, but he straightened that out, and you can just see it. And he's one of the leaders in RBIs of the year. So those guys have been kind of back and forth and going. But the one thing about it is we've had a lot of guys, Garrett Foster, Quinn Wahlberg, Hunter Aguirre, all come through in clutch situations when we needed them. And that's one of the strength of the offense, is that we're not just reliant upon Lane or one or two guys.
You guys are currently one game back at first place in the Sooner Athletic Conference with the series against USAO coming up. Where do you feel like your team stands in the conference right now?
Well, I think we're standing okay. The loss to Central Christian now looms even bigger because we're one game out. We would be tied with USAO, and it's a game that we should not have lost at all, ever. But we did, and that's the game of baseball. And so it makes this series, we don't want to make too much of it. It's obviously important for conference seeding purposes and standings, and it's also important for national recognition and regional selection committee rankings and stuff like that. Stuff that when it comes down to it, that decide whether or not, especially if we're hosting, what seed you're going to be in the opening round tournament. And that's what we're pointing to. Conference tournament, that's going to be important, but when it comes down to it, the opening round tournament is the most important. You have to win that one to go to Lewiston, and the seeding in that tournament is important. I mean, what we want is to be the one seed on our own field if we're hosting an opening round tournament. And these games this week are a big step towards that.
Matt Young suffered an injury in the first game this season, and he just recently reappeared on the mound for you guys. What can you tell us about his status right now?
Well, Matt, he went through rehab well. He continued to throw, thankfully, just playing catch and stuff. He couldn't do a whole lot of physical stuff. And he ended up losing 20 pounds. So his big thing is trying to get his body in shape and getting his strength back. He's had a couple of outings where he's gone a couple of innings. The other day I was hoping to get a little bit more out of him, and he had some back spasms, and so we didn't want to try to push that in a lopsided type game. But as he gets stronger, as he gets a little bit more time, he's going to be one of those things. And it's kind of like you look at it, about time for playoffs, he ought to be 100%, and it's like, oh wow, what a boost that this team's going to have a 100% healthy Matt Young going into playoffs. That's a weapon that no one else in this conference has.
Recently, one of your alums, Asher Tolliver, visited the White House as a part of the 2017 Houston Astros Club. What can you tell us about some of your other alums who are playing pro right now?
Well, we've got a few playing professional. I guess the guy that's closest to the major leagues is Brad Wick, left-handed pitcher from a few years ago. He's with the Padres organization. He went to big league spring training with them, pitched in a couple of big league spring training games, and has held his own. He's on the 40-man roster, and he's going to start out at AA this year. And we're real excited about his prospects of getting called up later on this year. And if he continues to pitch well. And of course, Ash, you're talking about Roberto Delgado, another pitcher. We got a few guys in organizations, and when minor league camps break, we'll know where they're going to end up, all of them. But we're real proud of our guys who've gone out, because they've represented our program well, represented themselves well, and it's always great to see somebody on TV, or you watch their stats, or you get that phone call that says, hey, I'm going here, going that, and especially the call that you get, hey, I got the call. We've had a few of those, and those are the big calls that just give you goosebumps when the guy calls and says, hey, I got the call. And hopefully we'll have a few more show up before too long.
All right, that's baseball coach Denney Crabaugh. You can follow the Stars on OCUsports.com.